Man, being a console gamer is great. Having these expertly crafted consoles next to your TV, while PC guys just have weird boxes. God damn it. Hey, I'm back, and console designs. One of the most pointless things if you really think about it. Like, why not just a branded box or a cool PC case? But no, they gotta put it in the goddamn Tower of Sauron. Now, I own a lot of consoles just for the looks alone, pretty much. So, while I'm here, why not talk about them? Okay, let's speedrun talking about the consoles I don't care about and no one remembers. Pong machine. Looks like a car. Not a great start, Nintendo. Definitely from the 1970s. Sega had a baby Master System released in Japan and New Zealand? Come on Sega, it's literally jump over the ocean to ship it to us Aussies as well. It looks fine, kinda like the Atari, but who cares about that besides some sheep? But when Sega busts out this bad boy. Ew, no, get that away. I meant this bad boy. The Sega Master System. This is just another 70s console in dark mode. Good thing they actually hired a designer that ended up making this version. This system looks very Sega to me, like with all the curves and the weird tumor sticking out where the game goes. Hey look, it's a Famicom. The console that looks like I have to stock it up with paper in order to get my receipt. I really like this design. If it wasn't for the Japanese exclusivity, and the classic mini model has its controllers so small they're labelled as a choking hazard, I would own this over my NES. And don't have space to store your controllers? Well, store all the controllers you need just by clipping it to the side. The biggest issue with this is that it looks too much like a game console, and those pesky Americans hate gaming. So let's sell them a VCR, an idea that works 50% of the time, would you believe it? I never really thought of the NES as a VCR, but apparently that's what they're aiming for. And if you think about it, with this little door thing and box design, it really does look like a VCR. And hey, it worked. It made American gamers. So next time a 9-year-old is making racist slurs at you in Call of Duty, thank Nintendo. They also made this version which looks odd and no one knows about it, so moving on. Right guys, we need a new design for our next generation system. Any ideas? Well, you know how technology is getting smaller. Why don't we just get an elephant to step on the already existing console? You're a genius! It's just a chopping board. At least with the refresh, it satisfies my need for coloured strips. I guess the designer was so hungry he took a bite of the console. The console looks like a top part of a car seat. Next. God damn it, Neo Geo, you made the Atari again. Get out of here. Oh yeah, this is a system design. I always thought this little circle thing on top was the Sega CD add-on, but I guess not. But this is even Sega's final form. Behold, the Tower of Power. The monolith compiling every bad decision Sega made trying to beat Nintendo, but in the end, they just made a black version of the SNES. Why does every company this generation just make a box, then later on give it curves? The US version of the SNES has a little more personality with the ridges. I always forget this exists. Probably because it looks like they forgot they were releasing a console and the only design they had was a hunk of plastic dev kit someone had in their car. Whoa, what the hell? Atari made a half pipe. Hey, they have a little spot for the controller to sit in. Wait, that's not what it's for? Well, that's just bloody stupid. Ah, PlayStation, the new kid on the block. The PlayStation looks like the designer lied on his resume about their qualifications. When they were asked to come up with the designs, they looked at the SNES controller and stole that. And then, not to make it seem too obvious they were copying, they go to another company and steal that design. This is just a better looking Genesis, and I love that design, so of course this design is also good. Come on Sega, you call it the Saturn and don't even have anything related to space or planets besides the logo. PlayStation made a better Sega Saturn. You just made a box. Oh, you're gonna revise it. Thank God, it's just the same thing but white. We need a new design for our console, guys. Any ideas? Why don't we just make it like a box like every other company? That might be too confusing for customers. Fine, how about it's so fast it needs a speed bump? Perfect. Finally Sega, you're doing something cool. 4 ports, mate. You guys are insane. No one that owns a Sega Dreamcast has 4 friends. It's kinda sad Sega ended with such a great console. Like, if they just held up for one more generation. what would they be making now after learning from their worst mistakes? You want to make a little city around your TV? Well, PlayStation has you covered with its new line of dystopian skyscrapers. You can even play DVDs in them. Whoa, crazy, I know. Building's not your thing? Well, here's a yummy wafer to have with a nice cup of tea. Well, Nintendo is known for not having misleading advertising. This is in fact a cube you can play games on. Also, finally a console with 4 ports that actually needs them. PlayStation was seriously the only console this generation not to have 4 ports? One look at this and you think, this is a gaming console. It's ginormous, and the green centerpiece screaming Xbox, with the giant X made out into the plastic. I love the look of this console. If only I could own one for more than a month without it exploding. Jesus Christ, this thing is somehow bigger than the Xbox. This thing is just packed with so much useless crap that would be eventually taken out, like an SD card slot and PS2 backwards compatibility. It might just be nostalgia, but I think this is one of the most unique console designs. So far anyway. The big curved panel with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man font, the chrome accent, it's just so out there and I love it. But PlayStation actually wanted these to sell, so they made a normal sized console as well. I think it maintained the PS3 look very well. Too bad they completely rebranded the boxes, making my PS3 collection look awful. And then, out of nowhere, PlayStation just made another PS3. It removes a little notch and instead the top part slides open to access the disc tray. And now this console is on my desk. It has become my new fidget toy. Hey look, it's a 360 that won't tell you to go kill yourself. The Wii is the perfect console to have next to the TV. For the audience they're going for with this console, I couldn't think of a more perfect design for the Wii. Whatever that better design may be in whatever alternate universe, we definitely did not get it here. Looks like I would find a Big Mac if I opened it. Man, no one could figure out how the console should look this generation, did they? Do you still have a launched Xbox 360 that works, and you've never gotten it fixed? Congratulations, go ahead and buy a lottery ticket because the odds are definitely in your favour. Good thing Xbox realised that packing a bunch of parts in a small area isn't great for heat dissipation. Why did I buy a gaming laptop then? So, quickly refresh the, to the Elite, the Arcade. I think that's all of them. No, Xbox, stop. You're meant to make the VCR next generation. See? Xbox, needing to take back the throne it had for around 2 seconds last generation, takes a page from PlayStation and steals something from Nintendo, and took something from the NES and made a VCR. Why is this thing so chunky? Was Xbox really worried about having a repeat of the overheating problems last gen? Or did they actually think this looked good? First order of business, ditch that hungry junk and welcome this. Now, I know before I was complaining about consoles that just look like a box. Xbox gets away with this because it makes sense the consoles are in a box. Console is so small and quiet. I love this little fan grill thing. It's just enough to give it some personality. And since it's the 8th generation and everyone's making new console, Xbox butts out the One X. Literally the same design just without the cool grill, so it's just worse. The Wii U. I can definitely see why this failed. It looks nearly identical to a Wii, the only difference is the gamepad. One massive thing I hate about with this console is it's so goddamn long. Most people probably don't notice since most of the images cover up the length of the gamepad. Every media stand or shelf I put this in, it always sticks out. Good thing Nintendo was in the mood for following trends however, because they made a new console, pretty much solving every issue with the Wii U. Also, the controller's docked to the console. I swear, everyone including Nintendo is stealing ideas from 1980s Nintendo. Of course, the coolest thing is that it can go handheld. Yo, it's a Soldier Boy console that's been blasted by a Category 9 cyclone. It's not terrible, and there's nothing really special about it. The light down the middle is pretty cool. PlayStation thought they created the ultimate design because they used it for their other two systems. Now the PS4 is just a Big Mac that's been poorly made. The current generation. Both PlayStation and Xbox has released 2 different consoles, but the Xbox went one step further and released 2 different designs. The Series S is basically just a 1S, but with a more exposed grille, which is a bit too extreme to me and just makes it look like a DJ desk, or even Xbox's own adaptive controller. The Series X is where it's at though. Honestly, don't trust pictures with this generation, because I always believed this was an oversized beast and wouldn't fit anywhere in your media station, and the PS5 was like this art piece you would happily show next to your TV. But when I had both of them in my setup, my opinions swapped. The Series X looked great as just a monolith box because it's so small, and it does actually blend in. I've already talked about my feelings with the PS5, but pretty much all the same applies to the digital version. I do like the digital version better because at least it's symmetrical. No one has any idea what they're doing.